This is the belly fat everyone wants to get rid of. But here's what most people don't realize. What you're seeing is only half the problem. There's actually a hidden layer of belly fat called visceral fat that's wrapping around your organs right now, pumping out inflammatory molecules linked to heart disease and even early death. And here's the crazy part. Even if you're not overweight everywhere else, you could still be carrying dangerous amounts of this hidden fat. Here's what's shocking. You could look relatively fit on the outside, but still be carrying over 180 grams of visceral fat. That's 40 times more than what's considered healthy. But with the exact plan I'm about to share with you today, you can reduce this dangerous fat by up to 45% in just 8 weeks, and finally see your belly start to flatten. But before we dive into the solution, let's understand what we're actually fighting here. Because when it comes to belly fat, there's a lot of confusion and straight-up myths floating around. First, let's get one thing clear. Belly fat isn't just about aesthetics. We're talking about a serious health concern with two distinct types. There's subcutaneous fat, which is that layer you can pinch with your fingers, sitting just beneath your skin. Then there's visceral fat, the dangerous one that wraps around your vital organs deep inside your abdomen. While everyone focuses on what they can see and pinch, it's actually that hidden visceral fat that poses the bigger threat. Recent research from 2024 has shown the critical connection between visceral fat percentage and increased risks of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and even certain types of cancer. Now, you might be thinking, well, if it's so dangerous, I'll just get liposuction to remove it. Here's the problem. Not even a surgeon can get to visceral fat. But here's the good news. Visceral fat is actually easier to get rid of than the stubborn subcutaneous fat if you know what you're doing. Here's where most people get it wrong. With regular belly fat, it's pretty much all about calories in versus calories out. But visceral fat, that's a different beast entirely. Two people could eat the exact same number of calories, and one could store way more visceral belly fat than the other, all because of specific foods they're eating. Scientists proved this back in 2014 with a fascinating experiment. They took 39 healthy adults and split them into two groups, overfeeding both groups with an extra 750 calories daily from muffins. But here's the twist. Group 1 got muffins made with polyunsaturated fats, think fish, nuts, and seeds, while Group 2 got muffins made with saturated fats, butter, and fatty meats. After 7 weeks, both groups gained the same amount of weight, but Group 2, the saturated fat group, gained double the amount of visceral belly fat. Group 1 didn't just gain less fat, they actually built more lean muscle mass. So how much saturated fat is too much? Most research suggests keeping it under 20 to 30 grams per day. That's about this much butter. But when you analyze a typical ribeye dinner, it contains almost 50 grams of fat, with nearly half being saturated. And that's just one meal. This doesn't mean you need to eliminate these foods completely. Just balance them out. Instead of fatty ribeye every day, have it once or twice a week. Choose leaner cuts like top sirloin, which drops saturated fat by 15 grams. Add fatty fish rich in omega-3s. It's about balance, not elimination. But there's another food villain that's even worse for visceral fat, and it's hiding in places you wouldn't expect. I'm talking about added sugar, specifically fructose. Back in 2009, researchers had people drink the exact same amount of calories from either pure fructose or pure glucose. After 10 weeks, only the fructose group significantly increased their visceral belly fat. Their insulin sensitivity also worsened, meaning their bodies now struggled to handle carbs effectively. Now, before you panic about fruit, let me be clear. Fruit contains fructose, but it also comes with fiber and water, making it nearly impossible to overeat to problematic levels. The real culprits are table sugar and high fructose corn syrup lurking in foods you might not suspect. Cereals, granola, sweetened yogurt, juice, jam, and even ketchup. One bubble tea can contain up to 50 grams of added sugar, and in Taiwan, over 30% of people consume something like this daily. No wonder visceral fat has become such a widespread problem. Rather than just eliminating foods, let's talk about what you should add. There's one macronutrient that's been shown to actively decrease visceral fat: protein. In a 2005 study, scientists instructed people to do just one thing: double their current protein intake. They weren't told to eat less or change anything else. Surprisingly, they naturally began eating fewer calories, and over 12 weeks lost over 10 pounds of almost pure fat. While this study didn't measure visceral fat directly, the large reductions in total fat mass, combined with protein's appetite-suppressing effects, create ideal conditions for visceral fat reduction. But you don't need to start carrying around chicken breasts everywhere. Here are some simple swaps. Replace your morning coffee sugar with vanilla protein powder mixed with a little milk. Instead of caramel popcorn, try plain popcorn topped with salted caramel protein powder and sugar-free syrup. These small changes can cut 20 grams of sugar while adding 29 grams of protein. Now, while these food strategies can prevent you from gaining more visceral fat, they won't do much to eliminate existing fat if you're still eating too many calories overall. This brings us to the fundamental truth about fat loss. You need to be in a calorie deficit. But here's the encouraging part. As soon as you create that deficit, visceral fat is typically the first fat your body mobilizes for energy. Research shows that losing just 10 pounds can shrink visceral fat by as much as 30%. This is the closest thing to spot reduction you'll ever get. The exact number of calories you should eat differs for everyone. Through proper tracking, you might discover that you see best results around 1,800 calories per day, while someone else might need to go lower to 1,600. The key is finding your personal sweet spot and adjusting as you progress. While diet creates the calorie deficit, exercise accelerates the process, but not in the way most people think. You can't spot reduce belly fat with endless crunches, but visceral fat responds differently than other fat stores. A massive 2023 study looked at how different types of cardio affect visceral fat. They found that moderate to high-intensity cardio and interval training rose above the rest. Unlike stubborn love handles that seem to ignore your efforts, visceral fat actually responds to fat-mobilizing hormones released during higher intensity exercise. But before you think you need to kill yourself with all-out sprints, let me clarify. We're talking about getting above 75% of your max heart rate. It's challenging, but sustainable. Here's what this looks like practically. 2 to 3 times per week, do 15 to 25-minute interval sessions. Pick an exercise you can go hard at: running, cycling, rowing, or elliptical. Warm up for 5 minutes, then alternate 30 seconds hard effort with 90 seconds recovery for 6 to 10 rounds. On your off days, aim for at least 8,000 steps daily. This low-impact activity is easy to stick to and still chips away at visceral fat over time. What matters most isn't just how hard you go, but your total exercise volume. Here's what most people overlook entirely. Your lifestyle habits can make or break your belly fat loss efforts. Poor sleep and high stress levels create hormonal imbalances that literally encourage your body to hold on to visceral fat. Recent research reveals how sleep deprivation influences your body's energy use and food choices. When you're sleep deprived, it disrupts your metabolism and the hormones that control hunger and fullness. This makes you eat more and choose less healthy foods. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep nightly. For stress management, find techniques that work for you: meditation, yoga, or simply taking time to unwind with activities you enjoy. These aren't luxuries, they're necessities for keeping fat-storing hormones in check. These strategies, balancing your fats, reducing added sugars, increasing protein, creating a moderate calorie deficit, incorporating interval training, and prioritizing sleep, can achieve results that seem impossible with traditional approaches. Remember, this isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. Start with small changes, be patient with the process, and focus on building sustainable habits rather than seeking quick fixes. The science is clear. Visceral belly fat can be defeated, but it requires a strategic approach that goes beyond simple calorie counting. Armed with this knowledge, you now have the tools to not just improve how you look, but potentially add years to your life. Ready to take action? Start with one strategy today, and remember, your future self will thank you for the steps you take right now.